Hey everybody, just coming to you today. First time trying to do kind of a video lecture on insurance. So hopefully you find this helpful or interesting or entertaining. I suppose would always be an option as well. So just kind of wanted to run you through a couple things insurance wise. And yeah, if you have any questions, you can leave comments at the end and on YouTube, or you can email me. You can also call me. So you have all kinds of options there. But my name is Jake. I'm with Indiana Farm Bureau Insurance. Our slogan is stop knocking on wood. And, seriously, please stop. Okay. Let's actually learn what our insurance does for us so that we're not surprised at the end of it. Okay. So today, going to talk a little bit about auto insurance. That seemed like a good place to start. That's the one that I deal with the most. People are constantly, can I make myself go away? Oh, nice. Look at that. Drop that down there. Cool. People are constantly talking about I guess they just don't know exactly what they're paying for whenever they look at their insurance. So it just gets to be a little bit confusing whenever it comes claim time, or even whenever you're quoting them, right? So I'm taking the time to quote somebody and I'm asking about their insurance. Like, oh, well, I really don't even know what I have. And so that's a little bit uncomfortable for me, especially. So one of the things I wanted to make sure I go over is this bodily injury. This is kind of the primary purpose for insurance. It is from an auto insurance perspective, and this is the primary reason. Most of the time, folks are a little bit more concerned about the full coverage aspects, but this is really the primary purpose. So you got your bodily injury coverage. This is the maximum your company is going to pay out should you be involved in an accident. So I showed you a lot of people have split limits, at least in my area. So 250, 500, 250 are an example of split limits. These are kind of the ones that I direct folks to 250, 500, 250, mostly in the area, that's maybe a little high for what people are normally having. So that's kind of part of what I do whenever I interact with folks, is encourage them to raise those limits. But what this would do is $250,000 per person in bodily injury payments. So you cause an accident, somebody gets hurt, max your insurance company is going to pay is $250,000 per person. More people in the car than that, the max they're going to pay is $500,000 per accident. All right. There's some nuances in there, but that's kind of the gist. Then you get to the last split limit is 250,000 in property damages. Sometimes I think I get a little pushback from that. Feels like a lot. And it is a lot. I mean, 250,000 is a lot of money. It's not a lot of money from a healthcare standpoint, but from property damage, it's like, holy smokes, what would you have to do? We encourage 1 in 4 vehicles on the road are semis. And, just the tractor itself, you're talking about $100,000 to replace that tractor, just the front of the semi, the truck. You think about that thing's fully loaded, and they were trying to get something done right now. If you cause an accident that involved the semi, well, now you got big money out, and they might want to get paid for that time and all that good stuff. So it's a cheap coverage from the standpoint of that. So I encourage folks 250, 500, 250 is generally where I try to have folks go. But that's what those limits are. So maybe you see 100, 300, 100. The state of Indiana, 25,000, 50,000, 25,000 is the minimums. 50,000, 100,000, 50,000, these are all kind of the just the normal progression there. But again, this is kind of where I direct folks to. And again, sometimes I'm directing folks to 500, 500, 500, or combined single limit 500,000, or we have other options that we can do as well. But this is just kind of the gist. Next time you look at your declaration page, maybe hopefully that helps. The other coverages there that are important to talk about, one's medical payments. And this is really your money should something bad happen. A lot of times these are sitting right at $5,000. It's a per person, at least with our company, it's per person. So that's a nice feature because this is your money. So if you get involved in an accident and you need medical care, this money's there to help you pay for that. All right. I have super high deductible health insurance, so I have mine at 25,000 per person, and I think I could go up to 50 per person. So. And I might, truthfully, but I haven't just yet. So this is where I'm at right now. Just a great way to keep the family covered in a God forbid, terrible situation, a way for the insurance to kind of step in and help ease a bad situation with some cash. The next two, uninsured and underinsured, these are there. So if you're involved in an accident with somebody who had those state minimum policy limits, like I talked about, 25,000, 50,000. Well, maybe you have more damage to yourself than $25,000 done, and you need more money to help pay for your medical bills. Well, and it was their fault, and that's all they have, and that's all that company's going to pay out because that's all that person carried. Well, you can make a claim against your uninsured or underinsured motorist coverage, and you have a bodily injury line item for that. So using the example I used on the previous slide, 250,000, 500,000, that's where this would kick in. So you could access some of that cash to help you make your situation as right as you can based off of that. And truthfully, this year I've had a couple calls on that, just folks trying to decide if that was a worthy cause, if they should make a claim on that. The last one there, uninsured motorist property damage. A lot of companies, it's one number, 25,000, 50,000. Even when I'm quoting against them, some people can pick a different number there. But regardless, you're involved in an accident, person doesn't have insurance. This tries to protect your pocketbook. Okay, so best example I had was I had a person who had a liability only vehicle, and they were involved in an accident that involved an uninsured motorist. We were able to help them pay for the damages on their car through the uninsured motorist property damage coverage, because they didn't have full coverage on their vehicle, full coverage, which is where we're going next. Okay. Full coverage. Oh boy. You have two main factors here, your collision deductible and then your other than collision deductible and coverage. So collision is when you collide with anything. Okay. Essentially. So the big hiccup here is like if you back into a mailbox, that's still collision. If you back into another car, that's collision. If you hit a tree, that's collision. If you hit another car while on the road, that's collision. That's kind of the standard one, right? The exception here is deer. That falls into the other than collision category. Other than collision, you're thinking hail, fire, tree falling, and then again, deer, wild animals. Those are kind of the act of God portion of this. So that's where other than collision kicks in. Deductibles wise, make sure you choose a deductible that you're comfortable with. I personally, I would just assume pay a little less. I pay my insurance monthly. I'd rather pay a little less and have a little higher deductibles. So that's just what I do. I probably like it 500 and 1,000, 500 for other than collision and 1,000 for collision. Some folks have been with companies for a long time and they've got $0 collision deductibles, $0 other than collision deductibles, and then $100 collision deductible. That's very expensive today. No matter if you've had that for a long time, maybe you're getting grandfathered in somehow, or somebody's, maybe they're discounting it somehow. But from being with the company for a long time, we have folks with Farm Bureau in the same boat. But I can't even write some of that today. They'll only let us go so low on certain things. And then on top of that, it's just very expensive to have a low deductible, just with how likely it is that we're going to have to fix, how much it's going to cost us to fix the car. That these things have gone up so much now that it's really not saving you any money to have a super low deductible, probably in the end, because you're going to be spending so much on the premium, anyway. So one thing I want to talk about just real quick is, you imagine that you're at Target and you go inside and you're shopping around, you come back outside and somebody's smoked the side of your car, just creamed it. If you have no idea who that person was, can't identify them, have absolutely no way of getting access to that person, your insurance company is going to treat that like a collision experience. Okay. A collision episode claim. There's no other way for them to look at it because they have no verifiable proof, that it wasn't that person. And truthfully, they have no other person to go against. Even if you could see the car, if you don't know who the person was, the insurance company still is going to say, well, it's a collision deductible. That's a likelihood there. So I'm trying to kind of think about some of the little nuancy stuff there. If you get a license plate and you can chase the guy down and you find out that they don't have insurance, well, okay. If they don't have insurance at all, then you can go back to that uninsured motorist property damage, right? So if we do find out this person creamed you in the parking lot, they took off because they didn't have insurance, they were freaking out like, oh my gosh, what am I going to do? So I took off, they don't want to get caught and having insurance. Well, then you're able to identify that person. Somebody got a license plate and they went to Target and said, hey, I got this license plate, this guy just creamed this dude's car, whatever. Well, now we find out that guy doesn't have insurance. Okay. Well, now you can use your uninsured motorist property damage to help pay for the damages on your car. which is pretty wicked, right? We like that a lot when it works out like that. So just something to kind of keep in mind. Not saying to recklessly chase somebody down, if that happens. I don't want anybody to get hurt, but that's kind of how these things get played out on the back end of things. Extras. The rental car coverage is huge. So this is not, my wife and I'll just be I'm an open book, and my wife gets mad at me for it maybe sometimes, but we actually just blew up a car. Basically, we ran her out of oil, and we found out that this particular car burns oil, and it just died on us. So never once saw an oil slick under it. Parked on the pavement for a long time here at work, and never once saw an oil slick, never noticed anything, but it was in between oil changes, and we nuked her. So that was pretty great. So we just spent a bunch of money replacing or fixing that car. We wanted to keep it, and so we spent a bunch of money fixing it. Well, that's not an insurance claim. So Farm Bureau didn't give me a rental car while my car was getting worked on. That's not a claim. Okay, that's not what this coverage is for. This coverage is here. So if you are involved in an accident, you need a rental car to get through while they repair your car or decide if we're going to total it or not, all that, or your insurance company, if they decide that they're going to total it, whatever, while they're making their decision, normally you can purchase some kind of rental car coverage. I will tell you with Farm Bureau, we kind of, the $30 a day up to $900 a day is kind of a standard that we have on 90% of our policies. I'm making that number up, so don't hold me to that. But on most of the policies that we have, we kind of, this is a default that comes in a kind of a package of extras that we do. But one thing I wanted to make clear as I talked about this was that if you haul something all the time with a truck and you get involved in an accident, and it doesn't have to be hauling for a business. You just are always pulling a trailer for your house. You're always you just need a truck. Maybe you're a farmer and you just want to haul you're hauling feed all the time or whatever. You need to make sure that you have the highest possible option for that. And we're talking like $14 every 6 months. Okay. We're not talking about oodles of cash here. Something that would pay out $1,500, it's up to you. You don't have to do it, but that's my suggestion, is to just kind of chew on that, because if you lose your truck to an accident and you have to wait for them to total it, or you have to wait for them to repair it, and then right now we're in this huge supply chain problem. So I've got a vehicle that was in a wreck over a month ago, and they still can't have it back just because of the supply chain. Farm Bureau's done everything they can, but we can't get this final piece. Oh my gosh, what a problem, right? Well, this kind of helps ease some of that pain, because you're able to get a rental car that was the size that you needed it to be, right? So even if you have a big family, I encourage a higher one too, because I don't want to be in the smallest car that can fit 7 people. I'd rather be in a Suburban that can fit 7 people, right? So just kind of something to chew on there. And don't panic. You might see my numbers here and then go, well, my insurance is $60 a day, up to $1,800. Well, everybody's kind of different, but it's likely, and we do have a company many companies that we partner with that have agreed to these prices. So it's not as much of a concern about, oh, I've got $60 a day up to $1,800, when the lowest they do is $40 a day to $1,200. Is that a huge advantage? Well, probably not. It's just the agreement that they've got with a rental company. So nothing to panic about there. One more extra, that I'll talk about here is new car replacement. We do have that here. It's actually kind of in that package of extras that we offer folks. And so that's a really great coverage. Make sure you have it if you buy new cars. If you never buy a new car and you're absolutely never going to buy a new car, then it doesn't really matter. There's kind of a bracket that, it has to be so many miles, under so many miles, under 15,000 miles or something, less than 6 months old, kind of a thing. But it's great coverage, right? My family has talked about my family and friends, everybody I've ever met has kind of talked about that. You love a new car, but it is kind of that scary, that initial value loss when it comes off the property compared to what you just paid can be a little tricky if you get involved in an accident. So new car replacements there to kind of help ease that pain of losing your brand new car, right? That's a big deal. Nobody wants that. There's always more. Okay, we've got optional trip coverages that come into play. There's other ways to handle your liability. There's excess equipment. Maybe you got your vehicle decked out with awesome electronic equipment, right? That's stuff there too. If you have any questions for me, you can definitely email me, jacob.maddox@indianafarmbureau.com. I'm here to help. You can call me. You've got my numbers everywhere on the planet. So people call me all the time, and most of the time it's scammers. So it's awesome. Um, but yeah, if you have any questions, you can call, text, you can email. I'm here to help. You can comment. I really am not YouTube extraordinaire, but I'm happy to help and be a part of your insurance journey, or just in general, whatever you need. So give me a shout if you have any questions. Thanks so much for watching, and yeah, we'll hear back soon. So talk to you later, y'all.